Hey there, everybody, and welcome to this Wednesday edition of OutKick Bets. I am your host, Kayla Knierim. Joining me over there in Alabama, my good buddy, Arky Shea. Arky, how's our Wednesday going so far?
It's going good. It's spectacular, as they like to say in the commercials, and by some people who are annoying. It is hump day, so let's get over the hump and let's make some of that money. Let's stop this cool streak I'm on right now.
I'm not so much on a cold streak, or at least I wasn't last night. We'll get to that in a second. But yeah, whatever happened to those hump day commercials?
Well, they're gone, and that's not the worst thing.
That's true. They were, they had their time to shine, and now they've moved on, and we all like it like that. Speaking of, I was 3-4 on the night. Thank you very much. But before we get to our bets last night, Banchero played for Duke. The big story, as we talked about yesterday with the breaking news, he played for Duke last night against Gardner-Webb. They obviously got the win, 92-52. We kind of weren't expecting him to play when we were talking about this on the show yesterday. Arky, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, if you remember when the news was breaking yesterday morning that we saw a change in the line from about 20.5 from Duke to about 18.5, and it sort of stayed there until about an hour and a half or so before the game, where the news came down that it was expected that he would not start, but he would play. Mm-hmm. That immediately moved the line back up to about 20.5. And they easily covered in that game, and Banchero didn't do too much that you really needed to sort of have him out there for. So it makes for an interesting decision to be made by Coach K, because you may think, he's trying to do the right thing. Like, look, it's Coach K's final season, okay? Like, yeah. We can make whatever excuses we want, and so can Coach K for his players. He wants to just win and go out on the right way. Unless he thinks that there's something Banchero did badly or did not do badly and he's being wrongly accused of, there's really no reason to have him out there last night. And, his grandson didn't play, didn't see a second of the floor. So, who was the other guy in the case that we were talking about yesterday on the show. So, I was surprised that he did play because mainly he didn't need to, and you could have avoided a little bit of a PR hit.
No, I totally agree. I'm with you there. We are aligned. Shocking to see him out there, especially when they really didn't need him for this one. So, do you think that suspensions will come down later on?
I don't know. I don't know at this point. Like, if you don't suspend him for the first game afterwards, and it's Gardner-Webb, Gonzaga's coming up in a couple of games. Ohio State's coming up in a couple of games. I feel like if you wanted to make that decision, you would have made it already, that he would have at least missed this game. And I don't know why he didn't. So, unless, again, Coach K thinks that we don't have all the facts and that Banchero was doing whatever he could to sort of make sure he got home safely, which may not have been allegedly giving his the keys to someone who was already intoxicated. I don't know. I really don't know. It made no sense for him to be playing last night.
That one was a head scratcher. All right, we're going to move on to some other games that we talked about yesterday on the show. Our Maction action. Eastern Michigan. I don't want to brag, but I hit that one. Eastern Michigan takes home the Michigan MAC Trophy. They beat Western Michigan 22-21. Arky, I know we were opposite on this, so I don't want to brag, but...
Yeah, well, I was in fine position of that game until later into the second half, where Western Michigan just disappeared. Their offense completely disappeared in that game, and Eastern Michigan goes up in the last 4 minutes, takes the go-ahead field goal, and even after their disappearance for Western Michigan, they had a chance in the last 3.5 minutes to drive down the field, go for a game-winning field goal, maybe even go for a touchdown and an extra point, which would have covered my 5.5 if someone had been able to get loose and not wait for the last few seconds for a field goal. Regardless, they get a tip ball interception with like 2 minutes to go, and that's the game. Like it was a good call by you. It worked out. Eastern Michigan with a great gutsy win to come back after being punched in the mouth last week by Ohio.
Well, the over did not hit, which I also picked, so messed up there. But they let us down when it came to totals.
Well, yeah,
Toledo.
Two of the three MAC games went under. It was a little surprising.
Weird. But we did get Toledo right at -6.5. That hit. They beat Ohio 35-23. Total there was 58. And, of course, the total for the game was 54.5. So if you took that, congratulations. What do you think about this one?
Well, if you got in late, that total went up to 58, so you might have been able to push on that game. But we got it early at 54.5, 55, 56, 57. Clearly, you all would have been okay with that. Toledo did the vast majority of the scoring early, and it looked like that they were going to not have a little bit of help at the end to be able to get over. But thanks to a last-ditch touchdown in the last couple minutes of the game, we got ourselves the over. So we got the Toledo spread, we got the Toledo over, and God bless the Rockets because we got good with them.
Yes, we did. Someone who did not do well is the 76ers, who I took. They definitely didn't hit. Lost to Utah 120-85. Clippers, though, did hit. They beat San Antonio 106-92. How'd you do with the rest of your night, Arky?
Well, by the way, I was watching a lot of that Utah game. Philly got punched in the mouth quick and
Awful.
often. And Utah essentially rested on their laurels for the second half, and they didn't need much to do it. They still win by 30. I lost on the over for the Bowling Green game because Bowling Green decided to give me one touchdown the entire game, which is sort of a threat for them to do throughout the entire season. Like, they have disappeared at times. They're not a great offense, but I expected a couple of touchdowns from them at the very least, and we didn't get it, so that didn't help. And sadly, something's wrong with Virginia. I had Houston and Virginia over 120.5. I think it closed at 118.5, and it still goes under by a few points. I think they scored 114 points in that game. But Houston just blew them out of the water, and defensively, they were all over Virginia, and Virginia couldn't score. Like, Virginia, as much as I was sort of impressed with how they rebounded after the Navy game with their three-point shooting, they couldn't score in that game. There's something wrong with Virginia. They are not nearly as good as Mike Bennett wants them to be.
Not like the Virginia we've seen in years past.
No, they look like the 16th seed upsetting the 1 seed, not the team that won the title.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, we are going to move on to our game of the day. We're back for more Maction action. We simply cannot quit them.
That's right.
All of these lines are according to FanDuel Sportsbook. We've got Northern Illinois Huskies. They are 7-3, 5-1 in conference play at Buffalo Bills, who are 4-6. Northern Illinois is first in the MAC West, and they are the slight favorites here at 1.5 with a total of 60.5. Arky, how are you playing this one tonight?
So this is a very interesting game. Both of these MAC games that we'll talk about are short spreads for the favorites, and they're both a favorite of the road team right now. And I think we're going to get at least one of these games being really, really good. And I don't think this is going to be the one, to be honest with you. Northern Illinois is a very, very, very good rush offense. So is Buffalo. They are both top 30 in the country in rush offense. And here's the cool thing. They're both bottom 20 in the country in rush defense. How about that, huh?
Wow.
They are both miserable against the run. Miserable. In fact, Northern Illinois in the last two Maction games, our midweek Maction games, has given up an average of 303 yards on the ground. 303. That's, putrid. That is putrid.
Not great.
I like Northern Illinois to be able to take control of this game early and fairly often. I think we're going to struggle to see Buffalo be able to put up points in this game, to be honest with you. I think they're going to be a little bit more one-dimensional than Northern Illinois is going to be tonight. And if we look at Northern Illinois, despite the fact they've given up a ton on the ground, and it's happened all season, they're still 6-3-1 against the spread. And if you look at Buffalo, they're 5-1 in the last 7 games against the spread. It's not good. But can I give you a fun fact about the MAC and about these two teams that are included? Oh,
Please
good.
do.
Okay. So I mentioned how bad these two rush defenses are, and they're awful. 7 of the MAC teams happen to be in the bottom 25 in rush defense.
Okay.
7 of them are in the bottom 25. So they are ranked 107th, 109th, which is the Buffalo team tonight, 111, 112, 119, which is Northern Illinois, and 126th, which is Kent State. They're not defending the run much up in the MAC, I'll tell you that. So tonight, I really, 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 really like Northern Illinois minus 1.5 tonight. And the under, if I were to lean one way, I wouldn't call it a pick at this point. I'd lean the under in this game, and I'd lean it in favor of Northern Illinois sort of squashing the life out of the Buffalo Bulls tonight.
Why do you think the spread is so close?
Well, again, if you look at what's happened with Northern Illinois recently, they've been giving up 1,000 yards on the ground, and Buffalo runs the ball pretty well on the ground. You know, Buffalo's 29th, I think, in the country right now in rushing yard per game. If they're fully healthy, Buffalo might be able to give them a game, maybe. But I think Northern Illinois is just a better team right now, and they sort of play better in these pressure situations. And again, good teams win, but great teams, Kayla, they cover, and that's what Northern Illinois has done.
This is true. Northern Illinois also just needs one win in the next 2 weeks to lock their spot to the championship game. However, as you mentioned, they barely got past Ball State last weekend, 30-29, while the Bulls are coming off back-to-back losses. Northern Illinois is 5-2 against the spread in their last 7, while Buffalo is 1-5-1 against the spread in their last 7 MAC games and 8-1-1 against winning teams. I know you just talked about the total. Huskies have hit the over in 5 of their last 7 as the favorite. Not only that, but the over has hit in Buffalo's last 4 games, and it's gone over in 12 of their last 17. Both teams are averaging over 30 points per game, so I know while you just said you're going to lean the under, I think I'm going to take the over. Even though Western and Eastern Michigan totally let me down last night, I'm going to take my chances and ride the over here of 60.5, but staying clear of the spread because I'm just not sure. So
Okay, so you're playing the number. I'm definitely playing the spread, and we'll see sort of how this banties out. Listen, I thought the over was going to be an easy hit for Bowling Green, but to be able to get the over, like, you're going to need both teams to be able to score, and I don't know if Buffalo's going to be able to tonight. So we'll definitely find out in a few hours.
That we will. All right, moving on to our spotlight matchup of the day. Back for more action. Central Michigan Chippewas. They are 6-4 at Ball State Cardinals, who are 5-5. The spread right now, Central Michigan is the 1.5 point favorite with a total here of 59.5. Arky, who do you like in this one?
So I think this is the closer of the two games, if I'm going to be completely honest with you.
Okay.
And I'm sort of leaning to the side of the road favorite, again, because it's such a short number for Central. If you look at Central so far, they've been up and down, but they've been really good the whole season through the air. In fact, they are, I think, ranked 24th in passing offense per game, or total offense per game. 283 yards of those 450 yards are through the air. I mean, they will sling it for you. And that is an impressive feat because Ball State is 106th in the country in defending the air game. It's not great, as I'd like to say. I look at Central, and I look at a team that's 3-1 against the spread most recently. I like to play the recent trends and not the overall season trends. While in their last 3 games, Ball State hasn't hit the spread once. They've been 0-3 in those last 3 games. So that worries me tonight because also Ball State's not a very good team. They're a solid team. They can get after you defensively at times. But I don't know if the guys from Munster are going to have it for 4 quarters to be able to beat Central tonight. This one I feel less good about than I did in the first MAC game.
Oh.
I'm still going to take the road favorites. I'm going to take the -1 in favor of Central tonight, just because the numbers kind of line up for us in the right way. You know, sometimes numbers lie and liars use numbers, and I get that, but this kind of fits the mold of what's going to happen tonight in Muncie, and I like Central Michigan to be able to come away with the win and probably win by 4 to 7 points.
We are on the same page with this one. Going back to Northern Illinois, they currently have control of the MAC West, but if they happen to lose their next 2, then it is on for the Chippewas, who are still very much in the race. This is obviously expected to be a close matchup as the lines have shifted several times already, but Central Michigan has been hot on offense lately. They've put up anywhere from 26 to 54 points in their last 5 games. Speaking of that offense, quarterback Daniel Richardson went for 268 yards and 4 touchdowns in the Chippewas' last outing against Kent State. On the other side of the ball, though, the Cardinals are 0-3 against the spread in their last 3 games, 3-7 total, while Central Michigan is 5-5 against the spread. The total has also gone over in the last 3 for the Chippewas and under in the last 3 for the Cardinals. So while I'm a little surprised these lines are as close as they are, I do like Central Michigan in this one at -1.5, and I think I'm going to stay clear of the total here.
Yeah, the total is a weird one. I don't think I feel comfortable with that because Ball State, they're going to have their chances to score. But Ball State is one of the worst offenses in the country. There's only 24 teams worse than them in total offense in the country. And, if they're able to get a couple of drives going, maybe you're able to get that over. I feel like this is a Central Michigan type game, and I'm taking Central Michigan with you, or I'm taking nothing at all.
All right. I like it. Moving on to our next segment. This is a new one and a fun one we're going to have some fun with. One-on-one. Arky, as we know, you are a diehard Cowboys fan. I am a diehard Chiefs fan. And our teams play this Sunday at Arrowhead, so we're going to have a little fun. Cowboys are 7-2. They are 3-1 on the road at Chiefs, 6-4, who are 3-2 at home. Dun, dun, dun. Dallas is the slight dog, 2.5. Total here is 56. So, not only is there a lot on the line for these two teams, but also for Arky and myself, because there is a bet involved within our bets. Do we know what it is yet? Arky, go ahead and tell them what's going to happen. So, if the Cowboys lose, you have to do my bet. If the Chiefs lose, I have to do your bet. And your bet is?
Yeah, well, 1 second. I do just want to mention that these two teams it's going to be very depressing if this ends up being a 13-10 game. Both of these two teams should be able to put up 25 to 30 points on each other, at least. Remember, what was it? Was it Kansas City, like Los Angeles, I think? The Rams, that was that Monday Night Football game.
Oh, my gosh. Best Monday night game I've ever seen, even though we lost.
That's the kind of game I want, all right? That's the kind of game this deserves to be at 3:30 on Sunday, Central Time, of course. If it's not that game, it's gonna be depressing. I don't want a defensive battle. I don't care how much better the Dallas defense is this year. I don't care. I do not care. What I want is a lot of points in this game. I think it's 56 right now. It's the total on FanDuel. So that's a good number. Not really worried about the spread. Not really worried about the total, because it's mono me versus a womanano. That's right. That's how it's said. And Kayla in 1 versus 1. We are going one-on-one for this matchup. So, if my Cowboys win,
yes,
you have to do a show dressed up as your head coach, Andy Reid. The whole show. The whole mustache.
It would be my honor. I am obsessed with Andy Reid, although I hope the Chiefs win this one. So I don't hope that happens, but I love Andy. Big Red is my guy. And
I would like to hopefully make sure that you're eating a hamburger while you're doing it, too. That would be great, because he loves hamburgers. He does. Hamburgers.
We have that in common, Andy and I.
So if the Cowboys win, you have to do a show dressed up as Andy Reid. The entire show.
Done.
Okay.
Easy. Except I hope this doesn't happen. But I would be honored to dress up as Andy. So, okay, well, are you ready for this? If the Chiefs win, Arky, do you know what you have to do?
I don't. That's what we did a tease, a surprise. I have no idea what's coming out of your mouth now.
This is live on air, folks. You have to come up with a rap about the game, and rap it on the show.
Okay. Listen, that's right in my wheelhouse. I am a savant when it comes to hip hop. I am one of the best rappers out there in the game.
Okay.
So they call me
Didn't know that about you.
They call me the albino rhino. So I know how to spit rhymes. I could do that. Absolutely. I could spit some bars. All
right. I mean, to be honest, I have no idea how this game is going to go. I'm terrified still to pick the Chiefs, but obviously I want them to win, and I think they can. I think it has potential to be as close as these numbers suggest, unless the Chiefs decide to go off again, like they did on Sunday night, which would be welcomed. But Cowboys obviously able to bounce back over the Falcons this past weekend. Yep. It's not going to be a cakewalk for the Chiefs, and I don't think it's going to be a cakewalk for the Cowboys either. So we should be in for a treat. Arky, do you want to give your picks for this game, or are you staying away from it?
No, here's the thing. I don't care about that. I just want the win. I just want the win because I want you dressed as Andy Reid eating a hamburger on a show coming up next week. That's all I'm here for. That's all I'm here for.
Well, I want you to rap about the game. So, game on. Game on, my friend.
I can do that. I am a master game-yo.
All right. Well, stay tuned for what's going to happen next week. And we will be following through on these bets. What did we say on Wednesday's show?
Yeah, we're hoping to get that Wednesday. It'll be next week. We'll definitely get a show next week where you'll definitely be dressed as Andy Reid next week.
Oh, no. I'm excited for this rap you're going to perform for us. What is your name again? The albino what?
Albino rhino.
Okay. Stay tuned. Moving on to our college football rankings. All new rankings came out last night. They didn't really change much. Georgia, 10-0, number 1 spot. Alabama follows 9-1 in the 2nd spot. Number 3 is Oregon, also 9-1. Ohio State in the 4th spot, also 9-1. Cincinnati still in that 5th spot, even though they are 10-0, followed by Michigan, Michigan State, Notre Dame, Oklahoma State, and Wake Forest coming in at 10. A little thing beyond that, Baylor climbed the ranks by 2, Ole Miss jumped 3 after their win over A&M, and OU fell from grace 5 spots. Womp womp. Arky, what are your thoughts on the current college football rankings?
God, I'm pissed. I really am. I don't get this. I don't get this system. It sucks. It sucks. It so sucks. It makes no sense. Ever since this system was initiated in 2014, every single week the committee has told on itself how much it doesn't know what it's talking about. Because we don't do this thing on the field and pay attention to it, we don't pay attention to the results. We just pick the teams with the best records and then try to figure out some metric to put them in a playoff. It's stupid. It's dumb. It's not the right way to do it. I hope they figure out a better system by December. I really, really, really hope so. I'm betting I'm being disappointed by whatever they decide because they've only done it to me ever since 1998. I will say this, though. When the chair of the committee comes out on national television.
Yes.
And he's asked, hey, so why is Michigan ranked ahead of Michigan State? You know, because Michigan State beat Michigan.
Head to head, yes.
And then the chair of the committee says, well, if you put to the side watching the games, all the stats say Michigan's a better team. You're telling on yourself. You're such a boob, Greg Barta. What is going on? I don't understand this. How can you possibly say, hey...
If you don't watch the game.
The game? Why are you watching the game? Look at all these pretty numbers, huh? These numbers are hot. I like them. Check out the run efficiency. Who cares? You're talking about literally one-loss teams who have a head-to-head against each other, and guess what? It's an easy switch. It's super easy. Instead, you say, don't worry about watching the TV. Don't watch the game. Look at this spreadsheet I figured out. Look at that number. That's yards per carry. That's pretty cute, huh? I like it. Let's use that one, too. It's dumb. It's the worst system. It's worse than the BCS, to be honest with you. It's far worse than the BCS, because at least the BCS has some blind computer picking the top 2 teams to play. This is a bunch of dodos that are watching the games that we're saying and telling you, don't watch the games. Other than that, I'm fine with the rankings.
It's called analytics, Arky. Look it up. No. Tell us how you really feel, though. Wow.
And I don't feel that way about all of them, right? They have Ohio State below Oregon in the ranking. That makes sense to me. You know, head-to-head and all. You know, why can't you use the damn metric when it comes to the other 2 teams that we're talking about?
He is fired up over there in Alabama, folks.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't. The only thing I do like.
Caught that.
The only thing I do like is that the committee chair did say Cincinnati, there is no discussion between 5 and 6. They like Cincinnati's win over Notre Dame. It's solid. They feel good about it. Now, if Cincinnati wins this week against SMU, that's only going to help their case if someone's able to drop out of that. But outside of that, the rankings are false. They're false. They're dumb. They're stupid. Let's get this thing expanded. Let's get the automatic qualifiers. Let's just burn this thing to the ground.
I am with you there. Do you think Cincinnati should be in the top 4?
Yes. Yes, Cincinnati should be in the top 4. They keep winning. I mean, winning still matters.
That is what is asked.
UTSA is like 20th. They're undefeated. What is going on? It's just dumb. This is dumb. It's not good for college football. It's not good for sports. And it's not good for you and me as a viewer.
All right. And on that note, no, I'm with you, though. I'm with you completely. We agree. We're aligned. So these things shift every week. Is it fair? No. Does it make sense? Definitely not. But it is what it is. So
it makes me so sad. Like, they literally just changed the goalposts and moved them every single week. Like, they used... Back a couple of years ago, they were saying Stanford lost to Kansas State, but they lost at the beginning of the season. They didn't have their body clock right because they played an 11 a.m. game in Kansas, or Northwestern it was, at Northwestern, and they had to go all the way to the Central Time Zone or wherever the hell Northwestern is in Illinois, and it's really ridiculous. It's really, and the fact that more people don't demand change. I feel like this is what we should be protesting in this country: the college football playoff. Like, this is what we should get mad about. This is what our pitchfork should be about.
With you.
Thank you.
It's a shame you don't speak up more about things you're passionate about.
Okay, all right.
All right, and on that note, moving on to our quick hitters of the day. Arky, back to you. Where's your quick hitter tonight?
I'd like to destroy the college football playoff. That's my quick hitter for the number one for the day. I like Arky minus 5,000. I will get this thing destroyed. But honestly, I'll go to college basketball where Vcu takes on Vanderbilt in a very interesting matchup where VCU is a 6.5-point underdog in that game. That's being played in Memorial Gym in Nashville. And I think that number is way, way, way off. VCU's got their three top players averaging more than half of their total points per game, and they're only averaging 50 points a game, while Vanderbilt's scoring 85 in their first two games. Now, again, it's early, so we keep these college basketball bets a little conservative because we don't quite know who these teams are quite yet. But tonight, I'm taking a short enough number for Vanderbilt, and I'm taking the Commodores minus 6.5 at home tonight against VCU.
All right. I'm heading over to the NHL where the Capitals, who are 9-2-4, are going to visit the LA Kings, who are 8-5-2. Washington, the slight favorite. Puck line is minus 1.5 plus 220 with a total here of 5.5. But the Kings are back from their road trip, and they went on a hot 7-game winning streak before falling to the Jets on Saturday. While the Caps are looking to pick up their 5th win in a row, I think this is going to be a great game. Alex Ovechkin leads Washington in points, goals, and assists, while Anze Kopitar does the same for the Kings. As for the trends, the favorite has gone 5-0 in the last 5 meetings between these two. The Caps have gone 4-0 in their last 4 games with the Kings. Not great for my Kings. While the total has leaned under in 4 out of their last 5 matchups. So I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. I can't pick against my team. Therefore, I will be riding with the under on this one tonight of 5.5.
Okay, all right. I can see that. I'm going to go to the NBA where I take on the Wizards. Where I won't take on the Wizards, but the Hornets will take on the Wizards at home. The Wizards are a 2-point dog in that game, and the total's 220.5. And I think I'm going to pay attention to the total because it's a pretty high number on what's been sort of a low-scoring start to the season for the NBA. But that's because both these two teams are really efficient offensively. Washington, despite what we thought of them last year, they are a much, much, much better team offensively this season. And Charlotte is actually one of the best offenses in the league right now. In fact, they're both one of the best offenses in the league. They're both in the top 4 or 5 in all the categories, which is really, really surprising, I think, for me in Washington's case. But they've been more efficient than they've just been pure good on offense. And I think the 220.5 is a tough number to get to, but I think this is going to be an attainable one tonight. 220.5 is the number I like, and if I'm going to go to a side, I think I want to go the Wizards on the road plus 2, but I like the total more. So my big play is going to be 220.5 over for the Wizards and the Hornets tonight in Charlotte.
I like that one. I think you're good there. I'm heading over to Boston at Atlanta. Atlanta is the 4-point favorite right now with the total of 214. Both these teams will enter the game coming off wins. And this should be a good one in the battle between Jason Tatum and Trae Young. Young, of course, leads the Hawks in points and assists, and he's averaging 25.5 points per game, along with the 9.1 assists. Tatum right behind him, averaging 23.5 points per game for the Celtics, in addition to 8.5 rebounds and 3.4 assists. So Atlanta is 5-10 against the spread this season, while the Celtics have covered 8 times in their 14 games so far. Celtics have only won 1 game this season when playing as at least the 4-point dog. So I'm going to go with my gut here and take the home team of Atlanta at minus 4. As for the total, Atlanta has hit the over in 7 out of 14 games this season, while 5 of Boston's have reached the over. So with that said, I'm going to stay south of this number. But again, with Trae and Tatum battling it out, it could very easily hit. So that's where I'm going with my last quick hitter.
Yeah, and Boston's had some recent defensive success since they sort of went on that road trip to Florida where they played Orlando and Miami, and they've really gotten a lot more together as a team. I really sort of like how that defense has started to come together, and Tatum's going through a shooting slump right now, but shooters shoot. Eventually, he's going to get out of it, and he's going to score a whole bunch of points in one time. So I just don't know when that will be. It's hard to sort of project that, but I very much see where you're going from, and I might play that with you tonight.
Well, thanks. That should be fun.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least today, our games to look out for as we look ahead to the weekend of football. Arky, what game are you looking out for today?
I'm going to go to the league, the National Football League, where the Packers are 2.5-point favorites going to Minnesota this weekend. It is a tough bear to try to figure out what these, no pun intended for that division, for what these two teams are going to be week in and week out. We saw Minnesota look really good against Baltimore, then blow that game, and then we saw them look really strong throughout the majority of that game and end up winning in Los Angeles last week against the Chargers. So that team's pretty solid and pretty good. But Green Bay, if fully healthy and fully together with Aaron Rodgers, is sort of a different beast. Now, this is the team in the division that Aaron Rodgers has had the most difficulty against. In fact, he's 15-9-1 against them. When you combine the other two teams, the Bears and, of course, the Lions, he's 38-10 against those other two division opponents. So I think this might be a close game and a really, really tight game. I'm going to be paying attention to how this line sort of moves in to make sure the health and the COVID protocols and who's going to definitely be in for this game, because this might be a live one for Minnesota at home coming up this Sunday.
All right. I'm also sticking in the NFL with the Colts on the road at Bills. Colts are 5-5, Bills 6-3. Carson Wentz versus Josh Allen. Buffalo is the 7.5-point favorite with a total of 50 here. This looks like an easy pick, but the Colts got the win over the Jags last weekend, and guess who wasn't successful in that same game 2 weeks ago? Oh, right, it was the Bills. So I'm not going to let that affect how I bet this one, but both quarterbacks are similar on paper, with Wentz over 2,300 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. Josh Allen having over 2,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, and 6 turnovers. But when it comes to the run game, it is not even close. The Colts' Jonathan Taylor has 161 carries so far for 937 yards and 9 touchdowns, while the Bills' Devin Singletary comes in with 80 carries for 398 yards. So Buffalo is 6-3-1 against the spread this season, while the Colts are 6-4. I know it's Buffalo in November, but I feel like making it interesting, Arky, and I think I'm going to take the Colts at plus 7.5. Am I crazy? Don't answer that.
No, I don't think you are. I mean, you got a really good tailback in Jonathan Taylor Thomas. That's right, that's his name. Who was great all season, just absolutely great all season long. And an Indianapolis team that's not bad. They're not a bad team, despite some of the bad decisions that have been made by Carson Wentz. That might be a live one for you too. I kind of like that.
Well, thank you. I'm also not going to touch the total, but Buffalo has combined for over 55 times this season, while Indy has hit that also 5 times. So riding with the Colts, 7.5. Don't let me down in Indianapolis. Please and thanks.
It's funny how many of those 50-point totals that Buffalo almost got that on their own.
Oh, I know. Crazy.
Yeah, that's silly.
All right, and with that, that's going to do it for our show today here on OutKick Bets. Don't forget to make your bets at FanDuel.com/OutKick. That is Arky Shea. I am Kayla Knierim. Best of luck in your betting, friends, and we will see you here tomorrow.